Alright, YouTube, I wanted to do a video on a question that I see a lot on Facebook, on the groups, any of the forums, Trail Finder forums, SCX10 forums, Viterra forums, the RR10 forums, is what is the best crawler? And in my opinion, I feel like that question cannot be answered. Because what is best for me, may not be best for somebody else. Everybody's opinion differs on what they like, their style, or the modifications that they want to do. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the different types of crawlers or trucks out there. Not necessarily crawlers, because in my opinion, most of the things you buy, like the SCX10 II, the SCX10, the Komodos, the Sawbacks, the Trail Finders, let's see, like the HPI Venture, all that is more of a trail truck to me. Things along the line of like a true crawler would be something like the is it the RC4 drive Bully and the low C night crawler, stuff like that. That is a copy, or not necessarily a copy, but a version of a fully caged, like tube chassis built dedicated rock rig, something that is meant just for rock crawling and nothing else. And where this truck here, the RR10 Bomber, is like a U4 type rock bouncer, something something that could be put into several different categories of an off-road style race. May not be the best thing for say just straight trail riding. The single speed, in my opinion, really limits a truck if you're going on a hiking trip, or if you're out with friends, say, crawling, doing a 3-mile hike. In my opinion, the single speed really hurts it, because on flatter ground or ground that isn't really rough, you can click it into second gear and walk at a faster pace, versus this truck, to where you're going to be limited to the speed of the gearing and the motor that you've got in it at the time. So with this, a shorter hike, I would say, or something, where you walk down a small trail and then you've got some rocks and stuff to play on, or if you've got a course set up in your backyard, in my opinion, this would be a good truck. Now, I'm not really going to say this is the best, or that's the best, or this is the worst. I'm just wanting to go over some of the trucks that I've got in my collection that I feel like would be good starter trucks, or something that people who have the question of what is the best, maybe they could see this and research, get on Google, type in Axial RR10 ready to run, read about it, watch some videos on it, and figure out maybe if this is the truck that they would really like to have, or maybe one of the others that I will put up here on the table to show off. So let's move from this one to another truck. Probably one of the most widely known in the RC market, the SCX10 II, Axial's new chassis release with the upgraded axles, the AR44 axles, and the body, I think it's a 2001 Cherokee body. This is a great rig. Now, a lot of the times when I suggest to people looking for a budget-friendly trail truck, something that they can pull out of the box, they don't have to do much to it, They can slap a battery in it and take off down the trail. This is one of the ones that I recommend, mainly because there's one thing that I would say that would have to be changed, at least for me, and that was the wheels and tires. The stock BF Goodrich tires, you know, with my terrain, the mud and muck around here, the tires packed up full of mud and became, you know, pretty much like the top of this table that fast. Any kind of dirt, it was, you know, it was pretty much running on racing slicks pretty much. Out of the box though, other than the tires, I think this truck is a really great option if you're wanting to get into it. There's a multitude of upgrades. There's, you know, bodies, all kinds of bodies you can put on these. Wheels and tire combination, that's a 1.9 RC four-wheel drive wagon wheels with the RC four-wheel drive Interco IROX. I did drill these wheels out to accept a widener kit, the RC four-wheel drive hex widener. The barrel nut that goes through the wheel is a little bit bigger than the IED of the where the stub comes through, so that has to be drilled out. So I'm running washers on the inside or between the wheel and the nut just to keep it from any kind of movement. I changed the plastic hooks out for these metal ones. Other than that, there's nothing else done to this truck other than that. Wheels, tires, and the hooks. That's it. And that's all I would suggest. I mean, you don't even have to do the hooks, obviously, but the only thing out of the box I would suggest doing is wheels and tires. And if you want to use the plastic wheels, there's many videos on YouTube on how to bull them or bake them or whatever to remove the tires off of the wheels and put new tires on the wheels. The factory styles, the plastic ones. Personally, it's just as easy to go and buy bead locks. I don't like vented tires really, because I like putting my stuff in water and mud, and I just don't want to deal with that. You know, the water and the foams, it gets the tire off balance. So it's kind of a pain. If you've ever dealt with it, you know what I'm talking about. If you're new, you'll soon figure out what I'm talking about, I'm sure. If you take the stock wheels and tires through any kind of water, mud puddles or anything, you'll see what I'm talking about. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just get bead locks that are sealed. Much better and much easier to deal with. Next, I'll put up another widely known vehicle in the scale market that's getting more popular, or not really more popular, but a lot of people are asking about it, trying to figure out what it's all about, is the Marlin Crawler that RC four-wheel drive released, what, about a month ago, 2 months ago maybe. This truck, out of the box, there, in my opinion, are a couple of issues that need to be addressed. One of them is on the front. When you turn without a body lift, it will rub here, and when you turn this way, it'll rub back here. If you can see it, when I turn, there's not a lot of room there. Now mind you, I've got a body lift on here already. You can see that has already raised the body up off of the tire. Now stock, it'll rub here and here. Another issue is the tires rubbing the leaf springs. Now you can imagine taking a curve or whatever on a rock side, you know, side hilling on a rock with a full turn, that's going to rub. Also, the front rubs. See? So these are going to have to be widened out, maybe with another hex on the inside or a wheel widener kit. The wheels will have to be drilled. on the inside of that hub, because all of the kits I've found, the hot racing kit, which is on the RR10, and the RC four-wheel drive kit, all the screws or barrel nuts that run through the hubs of these trucks down through here, that inside diameter is not big enough. So you have to drill it out to make it a little bit bigger to get the barrel nut or the other screw through there to put the widener kits on. Other than that, I've not done anything to the truck other than change the plug on the ESC to a Dean's connector, because some reason RC four-wheel drive thinks the majority of people still use Tamiya or Tamiya, however you say it, plugs. I guess that's okay if you run nickel metal hydride. I do not, so I wanted to change that out and get that to a Dean's to run all the batteries that I currently have. Next truck, the Gmade Komodo. Now this truck is $370 off of eBay. I don't know what it is, through any other sellers, RPP or A-Main or whoever carries it. But off eBay, I ordered this one, and it was the only place that actually had it available at the point in time. So I went ahead and bought it off of eBay, paid $370 or $370.99, shipped to my front door. I got it within like 3 or 4 days. I can't remember the seller exactly, but I got it within a normal amount of time for shipping. It was pretty quick, being that it had to come, almost halfway across the United States. But out of the box, this truck, it surprised me. I thought, with the price that this truck is, and, I don't know that much about Gmade products, I kind of took a leap and bought one. I've got a video of this truck that I did. It's not actually this specific truck. I actually done a video on my dad's truck. The only difference is wheels and tires, obviously. These are off of a Viterra Ascender K10. And the bumper. My dad's truck had stock tires on it at the point in time. At the moment, he has upgraded wheels and tires to a high mass 1.9. And if I'm not mistaken, the BF Goodrich Crawlers, kind of like the same wheels that are on, or the same tires, that are on the RR10. Now this truck, out of the box, you get the roof rack, shovel, 2 sand ladders, and a snorkel, plus a light kit. So for $370, in my opinion, this is a pretty good deal. It's a good starter point. If somebody was looking for something that was a little cheaper than the SCX10 II, I would definitely 100% recommend this truck. All of them are modifiable, and you're only limited to your imagination and your skill. And you'll never know if you don't try. So with this truck, it's set up pretty much the same. It's got a steel ladder frame or C-channel frame, shock hoops, front, rear. It's pretty much set up, close to the SCX10. Linked front and rear, 4-link front, 4-link rear. This truck is 100% bone stock. The only thing that I have done is the winch bumper. Right now it doesn't have a servo. I've got one ordered to replace the old one. I'm just waiting for it to come in. But for the price point of this truck, for the performance that you get out of it, and I think that it's a really good deal. It comes out of the box in a droop suspension setup. Now what that means is you can see there's pretty much no suspension to it right now. But if I pick up the back tire, you'll see the amount of travel that it has. It pretty much doubles the gap in the fender well by picking the rear tire up. Now you can see the rear tire does come up into the fender a little bit. But what it is the spring is actually in the shock body, and the shock shaft goes through the spring and is capped at the top. So when you pull, if you're, dropping off of a ledge or something, that spring actually compresses from the weight pulling off the wheels and tires, and the axle flex, push it up on that side will actually create a fulcrum and move this side down. If you want to change it, Gmade, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure out of the box they send you the spring cups that go on the bottom of the shocks right here. You can put them, you put the spring cups here, and then the spring will seat here to here in the spring cup, and then you fill the shock body full of oil, which they provide you out of the box. So this truck can be set up a couple of different ways, straight out of the box, no money spent to do it. The wheels and tires that come on it, they're plastic bead locks. This is not them, obviously, but the wheels and tires, they're plastic bead locks with the M1903 tire, I believe, and it does pretty well out of the box. I just recently changed these because I used the bead locks for a different truck, my camouflage Toyota, which I'll be setting up here next, to change the wheels and tires on it to get away from the 1.55s because they were too small for the build that I was doing. So I'll go ahead and throw that truck up here and talk about it. Now this truck has been linked front and rear, 4-link in the rear, 3-link with panhard bar in the front. Now I've got ballistic fabrications wheels with the Groundhog 2 tires from Interco. You can get those, they're RC4 wheel drive. This truck does have the worn winch and the Marlin Crawler bumper off of the Marlin that I've got. The electronics in this truck obviously are custom. I built this truck from a kit. I've got a Hobby Wing 1080p ESC with RC four-wheel drive, I think 35 turn, I want to say. I think it's 35 turn motor with 2-speed transmission, the kit. Aftermarket drive shafts, aftermarket shocks, wheels, tires, everything's aftermarket on this truck. The only thing stock's the chassis, the axles, and the body. This is one of my favorite trucks to run. I built it the way I wanted it to be built. I customized it to my own personal taste and made it exactly, what I wanted out of a crawler. I've still got a little bit of work to do. I've got to widen the axles or the hexes out. The tires rub. The reservoirs here under any kind of suspension compression. You can see it move the tire there, maybe. It's kind of dark. But I need to widen it out just a little bit, 3 or 4 millimeter to get it off of that reservoir, and then she'll be ready to rock and roll again. I have taken this truck out several times in different wheel and tire configurations, and it's done well. I've used these tires on the bead locks that came factory on the Gmade Komodo, and they done really well. I didn't have any problems out of it. Other than stock wheels and tires, I don't like the stock wheels and tires that come on the trail finders. I always end up changing them out for 1.55, 1.7, or 1.9. This truck, I just wanted to go with this type of look, big and mean stanced, kind of a mud truck type crawler, whatever. The next truck I'm going to put up here, there's a lot of controversy. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it a piece of junk? Is it the best truck you can buy? And we all know TRX-4. This truck gets talked about probably more than any other truck, on any of the forums I'm a part of, aside from specific forums that are, specific for trail finders or ascenders or whatever. But this truck, a lot of people, it seems like you either love it or you absolutely hate it. Now, I bought this one secondhand. The guy bought it, had it 3 days, took it back to the hobby shop, said, screw it, put it on. They changed some stuff out for him. He said screw it, brought it home, put it up for sale, and I bought it the next day. The problem was steering servo kept burning out. He bought it, pulled it out of the box. Within half an hour, the steering servo broke. He took it to the hobby shop. They put another steering servo in it. It broke. Both Traxxas servos. So the reason that the Komodo doesn't have a steering servo is because it's in this thing. The Komodo servo has held up. It's not got enough torque, in my opinion, for this weight and size of a vehicle. But it has done well. I've took this crawling. I've took it out, you know, put it on rocks in the creek, in mud, and it does great. So until it burns out, it'll have a Gmade Komodo or a Gmade servo in there. The one thing I did change, wheels and tires, obviously. That's something I do on pretty much all my rigs. I took the spare tire off of the rear. I plan on, I'll probably end up changing the body, maybe, if I find one that I like. But I've noticed, you know, a lot of people say when you're driving and you make a turn, it'll just flop over. And that's true, pretty much. I've noticed after driving this for a while, locked, unlocked, I use the differentials every time I'm out on the trail. I leave them unlocked until I need them locked, just for the challenge. I've noticed that with unlocked differentials, when you're going down the road, you're going down the trail, you're in second gear, hauling butt, you know, going to where you're going to go crawl, and you make a sharp left and the truck leans this way. If you have the differentials unlocked, these wheels over here will actually spin instead of hooking across the axle, you know, because it's unlocked. And these will just spin instead of transferring all the energy, you know, to all four wheels and tires, causing it to roll. You know, you're going down the trail, you make a sharp left or a sharp right. I mean, these wheels over here are going to spin and cause it not to transfer all that energy, you know, to the left side of the vehicle. Running it with lock differentials, when you know, make a turn, there is no give. So it transfers all the energy and it just hooks, bites, and turns, so it flops over. It's kind of the same concept of, you know, a one-to-one. You're not going to jump in the one-to-one and take off down the trail and just make a sharp left-hand turn at wide open throttle. If this truck's driven like a one-to-one, I think it performs very well. Again, I would recommend this for somebody buying one. They are a little bit more frustrating to get used to, say, than the SCX10, because there's more things to go wrong. There's more maintenance required. But if you feel like that you can handle that type of maintenance and you can handle the truck itself, then by all means, I suggest, you know, a TRX-4. After driving two-speed trucks on the trail, I love a two-speed. I'm not competition crawling. I'm not, you know, going out and doing anything where I have points and, you know, this, that, or the other. I go out and have fun. So the two-speed, in my opinion, gives you the option of a slow crawl, but when you're on a flatter trail and you're hiking at a faster pace, you can hit second gear and take off. I enjoy it. I like it. My next trail finder build that I do will be a two-speed. I will probably build nothing but two speeds unless I build one for a scale, you know, competition, rock crawling style truck. The two speeds, in my opinion, is just the way to go. With this truck, I may end up changing the body. I may not. It just really depends. I kind of like this body. I'm getting used to it, getting used to the way it handles on the trail and how it reacts to certain rocks and pitches and, you know, angles of ascension and departure and whatever. I'll probably end up changing the bumpers out. I don't like the bumpers, and I may, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I may find a F250 body or a Chevrolet body, square body, and put on it. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm having fun with it the way it is. So out of all the trucks though, the Komodo, the SCX10 II, and this would be the ones I would recommend in that order. Komodo, SCX10 II, TRX4. Just because the features you get with the Komodo out of the box are neat. There's a lot of things you can do with it. It's modifiable. There may not be a big aftermarket parts for Komodo parts, but you can always modify things and make things work. For scale parts market that are available, that are direct fit, SCX10 II, flat out. That there's no other, in my opinion. I'm a big Traxxas fanboy, if you want to call it a Traxxas fanboyism, whatever. But I love Axial support on their crawlers and stuff. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to post it in the comments section below. If you have anything you want to know, I can do my best to try to figure it out for you. So post away, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I don't try to push this channel for likes and money or whatever. I don't care. I just want it to be informative and help somebody get started into the hobby.